The Mubadala United States Sail Grand Prix is finally here. Australia, United States, and Japan are already through to the show-stopping final.
Anything can happen. Best lineup we have ever seen.
It's been a bit of a climb back all season to get to this moment.
The reason we're favourites is because we've proven that we can perform under pressure.
We want to push hard out there, but if something happens, it could be over.
Will Nathan's team seek revenge after the 2020 Grand Final?
Nathan had the $1 million in his hand. It slipped through and Tom got past.
Can Tom Slingsby focus and contain his anger when it counts?
I do have a temper, sort of known as red mist.
And after 7 events, Season 2 will declare a winner this weekend.
3, 2, 1. Here we go. Wing on! Keep going! Come on! Hurry up, boys, come on!
I love this show.
San Francisco Bay is shaping up to be the spectacular setting for the Mubadala United States Sail Grand Prix, as today's weather outlook promises to make things really interesting. Hello everyone, I'm Todd Harris. 2 titles will be decided today. The first 2 races will decide the San Francisco Series Championship, and then it's the big one, the Season 2 final. The winner will take sailing's biggest cash prize. For second and third, it's going to be so close, and yet so far.
No one cares how a team did in the regular season.
You'll have 3 boats racing for $1 million.
Australia's the best sailing nation.
They're going to want to stay away from us.
We are the underdog team.
I would be crazy not to say that we're going to win.
Tom was lucky last time.
The favourites don't always win.
We are so ready.
The only thing people will talk about is who won SailGP.
Despite chilly and overcast conditions in San Francisco this afternoon, the crowds are still turning out to see the world's best sailors go head-to-head. All 8 teams will be competing today. The tech teams have been busy with their boats overnight, but the problems have been only minor, nothing major reported. 3 races coming up. Remember, the first 2 to decide the series championship, and then the top 3 on points for the season go into the grand final, the big one. 1 race, winner take all.
The road to the grand final. Let's just say it's not been a straightforward ride. Let's take a look back. Australia, Japan and USA are in the final. It's the way the points have gone, and nobody can contend the top 3 for the top prize in San Francisco. Great Britain were on track to fight for the top 3, but with a total of 4 penalty points from the umpires this season, they've undone their hard work. For Australia, it was the definition of an up and down season.
Terrible.
But after clinching the last 2 rounds in Cardiff and Sydney, defending champion Tom Slingsby's in the top spot, looking to make it a double.
I would be crazy not to say that we're going to win.
Congratulations, Australia.
The Japanese couldn't kick off their campaign the way they wanted after a collision with USA in Event 1. For the next event in Toronto, Nathan settled the bad blood with USA to win the final and scored crucial points. But it was the second half of the year where consistency gave them the ticket for the grand final.
Big victory.
For USA, they're the outright most consistent team, and as the new team for Season 2, they rightly hold the name as the underdogs.
He's dived inside, looks to head up.
No stranger to pressure and performing when it counts. The only team in the final not to have won an event. Will they save it all come crunch time?
The only thing people will remember from Season 2 in SailGP is who won the final race.
Today is the culmination for 3 teams and their skippers. Nathan Outeridge, the man for Team Japan, is a wizard when it comes to finding and deciphering wind pressure. Tom Slingsby and the Australians are the defending champions. And then, of course, the Americans and their legendary helmsman, Jimmy Spithill. What a day it will be today. The potential for $1 million payoff before the sun sets on the Pacific is what awaits these 3 teams and these legendary helmsmen.
There's nerves, excitement, all of the things wrapped into one, as you'd expect for a day like today. But it's a good feeling in the team. We've just had a massive amount of support locally. I mean, the amount of messages that have come in, So yeah, we're going to try and use all that to our advantage and get out there and execute a good race.
I'd prefer to be lucky today than good, actually. Yeah, it's just, as I said, it's going to be one of those days where a bit of luck will not go astray. So, yeah, if I could save all my luck for that last race, I would. But, look, we're just going to go out there and try our hardest for every race and see how the chips fall.
We got lucky in the season final last time by Tom getting a penalty and gifting us the start. And then, we made a mistake and he slid through for the win. So I think it'll be the same, don't make mistakes, sail the boat fast, and everything should be okay. But as I said, this southerly wind is actually probably the biggest curveball that we're going to see here this weekend. I think all three teams are ready for the final, and it's a case of can you actually understand what a southerly wind is going to look like in front of the yacht clubs there.
Well, it's choppy further out on the bay today, but that hasn't stopped several hundred boats lining the course boundaries. And given the forecast is for challenging conditions, we should note that the rule that may change the final lineup. Now, if any of the top three is damaged and cannot compete in the final, the next boat on points will take their place. Not that that was holding anyone back yesterday.
Day one in San Francisco tested the 8 teams.
The Spanish fall off the foils.
Great Britain made the fastest assessment of the tricky tidal racecourse in race 1.
All eyes on the Union Jack.
Japan dominated the start again in race 2, but flew too high on the foils and came crashing down, with Australia breathing down their necks.
Australia and Slingsby here have absolutely loved that.
Denmark took control of race 2, with new helm Spain's Jordi Zama impressing the fleet. It took Japan 3 races to convert a winning start into a race victory.
Look at that speed as they cross the line.
And Spain were delighted with the second place. For the event title, Japan lead the way, tied on points with the consistent Australia, with Great Britain also tied in third with Denmark.
Yeah, exactly. Stand by.
We'll take a look at the scoreboard from yesterday's action, 3 races, and you got to look at Australia. Look how consistent, a 2, a 4, and a 3. Japan picked up a win on the 3rd race, so they carry the most momentum coming today. Great Britain looked great early, winning the 1st race, and of course Denmark getting a big win in race number 2. And there is the event leaderboard as it stands right now. Japan and Australia sit on top with 18. Ben Ainsley 2 back at 16, tied with Denmark, 2 points clear of Spain. But when you come to San Francisco, the landmarks are aplenty. The Golden Gate Bridge, Lombard Street. From there, it's just a short drive over to Coit Tower. And of course, the iconic shoreline with the Transamerica building. One of the greatest tours you can ever take, Alcatraz, and of course, the Palace of Fine Arts. Plenty to do, but today everyone is focusing on the bay. For more on the conditions, let's check in with Olympic silver medalist Lisa Darmanin.
Well, Todd, the forecast is for a southerly wind around 20 kilometres per hour with winds gusting around 30 kilometres per hour. But currently we have massive bullets of pressure as well as big holes, and it's mostly coming out of the west. The sailors are going to have their head on a swivel to navigate today's race course, trying to predict where the next wind gust is coming from. There are 2 sides of a coin when we talk about challenging sailing. One is where the boat is in survival when the wind is up, and another is a day like today when you have to be a master in meteorology, keep your heads on the sky and those clouds as well as the water to find the next wind shift or burst of pressure. So lots of opportunities for overtaking today and plenty of comms coming off those boats to deal with a change of pressure. It's anyone's game today.
Well, the one thing that is a constant is who can land the first punch in the pre-start is going to get off to a strong advantage if they can convert that to lead at Mark 1. Eyes out of the boat, as Lisa says, are going to be crucial on this racetrack, and as the teams approach gate 2, they can turn left or right. The wind is swinging all over the place at the moment. It's changing by the minutes, and the teams are going to have to adapt and react to these changing conditions. Opportunity everywhere. Huge gusts coming off of the San Francisco streets will hit hard, and we can see huge accelerations, plenty of pressure on those flight controllers. How much are they going to be willing to risk for $1 million? They're going to be coming down to this final gate, searching for the $1 million move. The crews chasing may separate with one last roll of the dice. But let's not forget, there's more than just the wind out there on this race course, adding to the decision-making. Freddie Carr.
Stevie, right now the course is set up in the forecast southerly breeze, but as we speak, we can see the tide arrows moving from the left to the right-hand side of the screen. As we speak, they've just picked up the marks and rotated it round to the westerly direction. It is very, very changeable. It's about the southern breeze versus the westerly breeze. There's lots of puffs and lots of gusts out there.
Thank you, Freddie. And now let's get the expert local knowledge of what it's like sailing and racing on San Francisco Bay. We put that question to USA's tactician and grinder, the one and only Andrew Campbell.
I'm Andrew Campbell. I'm a tactician and grinder with SailGP Team USA. I'm looking forward to going racing here in San Francisco, home waters this week. San Francisco is a brutal place to sail, and it's going to bring out the best out of these sailors that are here. Being in San Francisco over the years has given us some good experience. We're going to use that as much as we can to bring it to go and win our $1 million.
What a beautiful day here in San Francisco, California, the Golden State, USA, the 8th and final stop of Season 2, and of course, the grand final. The Mubadala United States Sail Grand Prix is set to get started in less than 7.5 minutes. All 8 teams have been out practicing. There have been some very interesting moments as they make their way around, as we heard just moments ago from one of the best. Andrew Campbell telling us, guys, this is a tricky place to sail.
Yeah, well, the classic saying in that it's never normally like this here. San Francisco, we come here because the conditions are so consistent, so regular. But one thing that is controllable is the fact we can't control the wind, and these sailors have got to not worry about that. They've got to focus in and put themselves out there in the boat, Freddie.
Yeah, the boats so far have been warming up in the southerly breeze, and it's been quite a fickle southerly breeze. Since we've gone on air, that southerly breeze off the city has shut down, and it's pumping from the Golden Gate Bridge down to Alcatraz. So all of their warm-up that they've been doing in the light airs, they can rip that up and throw it out the window. They're back in similar conditions to yesterday. But my suspicion is it's going to flick between the two breeze phases, which is going to make it really hard for the tacticians.
Absolutely, and we can see their message from the race management, a 5-minute delay on the start. And what's really interesting is due to that wind shift, as you say, it's not what they planned for. The other thing is their boats are set up with the small high-speed boards.
Right.
They're set up for fast, heavy wind conditions. This gusty, changeable stuff means it's going to be pretty unstable, very, very hard to sail the boat. It's only going to reward the better sailors, Freddie.
And the high-speed boards are the low surface area boards, so they're the foils for 30 kilometers an hour and above. And sailing those high-speed boards in light airs, boy, that is a test of the flight controller.
Absolutely, keep that thing up in the air, keep it flying, and there he is, Nathan Outridge. He's going to be pretty good at firing the breeze and getting his way round out there.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here with us, and of course for our drivers being here with us today. Jimmy, let's go ahead and start with you. It's safe to say that this season, everything that has gone wrong has. Do you think this is a sign of good leadership of the team?
Well, I think it's a sign of a good team. That's what I think it is. We've been tested more than any other team here. It is the best lineup we have ever seen. I mean, you just look at some of the names that aren't in the final. That's certainly a lot of people were talking about at the beginning of the season. So, yeah, I'm really proud of the team to face what they've had to face to get to this point. But the job's not done. You know, yes, we're fortunate enough to have qualified for the final, but as Tom and his boys showed yesterday, anything can happen, very, very quickly. If that had happened on Sunday, Tom wouldn't be in the race in the final for the million. So that's the balance we have to play with, with currently qualified for the final like these guys, that we want to push hard out there. We want to use these 5 fleet races as a way to warm up and get ready for the final, but if we cross the line or if something happens, that's it. it could be over. So it's a very, very tight line we have to walk going into the Sunday.
Following yesterday's incident, what's on the repair list now, and when do you anticipate getting back on the water?
Yeah, obviously pretty extensive damage, and probably 80-90% of that is to the wing. The way the capsize happened, the impact was on the wing was really tough, and as soon as the wing hit the water, there was breaking of flaps on the wing, yeah, so the hull is not too bad. We need to replace a few electronic boxes, fix a few fairings, and that wouldn't hold us back from racing today, but we need to rebuild some of the full wing flaps and the control system on the wing, and that'll take throughout the day. Best case scenario is we would get out for a 20-minute sail on South Bay this afternoon to check over the systems, but I put the request into the tech team, but I also said I'm the one that put us in this situation, so we're at your mercy. And they said, we'll try our best, but it looks very unlikely. I think they'll still be working on the boat tonight, and hopefully we can do an earlier little check sail tomorrow morning, go out for 20 minutes and then come back in and put the boat on the mooring and make sure everything's functioning well.
Now, Nathan, would you say it's temper or passion that Tom talks about?
I think Tom's got a lot of both, to be honest. So I've known about the red mist for a long time, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere near him after his incident yesterday. I'm sure there was mist flying everywhere.
Did you think that you'd be sitting here going into Sunday?
Well, we always hoped we would be. As Jimmy said, it didn't start very well for us, and especially for them. And so it's been a bit of a climb back all season to get to this moment. And then I think what kind of put us in this position was a certain British person running over us in Sydney and putting us out and being really kind and giving us a boat in Sydney to race on the second day. So, it's funny how things unfold. And all season, Tom's been the benchmark, and we've just been trying to get better and better. And, we've had a bit of a knack for doing quite well in the light air. And this place is known to be quite windy, so we've made a few changes throughout the season to improve our strong wind performance. And, we're just chipping away and getting ready for Sunday.
So that was the skipper's press conference, and despite cool temperatures in San Francisco, it got a little heated, but we are almost set to go racing. Coming up on 90 seconds to go until the start of race number 4. Remember, 2 races and then the grand final. And for Freddie Carr, this has got to be a situation where you better be spot on your position.
You've got to be spot on with 90 seconds to go. There's 3 things to look out for today for everyone. We've got 2 races to decide the San Fran champion. That's a big deal. That's a lot of prize money. That's bragging rights.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on Japan, Australia and the USA in these next 2 races. How are they going to play it? There's also that little charge to become 4th overall in the season. So if something happens to one of those top 3 boats, you can nick their spot in the grand final. So much at stake in race 4 and 5 today.
1 minute to go to the start of race number 4, which will be followed up by race number 5, and then it will be the top 3 racing in the grand final for $1 million
This
here.
is the umpires. Boundary penalty, Japan. Boundary penalty, Japan.
Japan have got a boundary penalty there. That means they either get the equivalent of an OCS penalty at the gun or have to do 2 tacks and 2 jives before the gun.
Here we go, and look at the teams lining up, bottom of the line. Australia, Tom Slingsby at the helm there, and then coming in on the foils, New Zealand from out the back. The whole teams are lined up very high in the box. We can see that there's a big wind shift, turned a long way to the left. It's making it very hard for the crews. The pole position is well up the line. First time we've seen that. Outeridge with a penalty will have to start behind the fleet. How's your timing, Peter Burling, and New Zealand at the top of the line? It's Australia, Great Britain, but it looks like New Zealand will break the line first. They're clear. Who's fastest to Mark 1? The boats are up and foiling. It's a charge now to make it to Mark 1.
Day number 2 of the final event, and all boats flying in the shadows of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's Australia that looks like to have the best position. Look at the Americans right inside, and Denmark trying to pinch them down.
Oh, it's fast across here. We can see how unstable the boat looks. They're all porpoising around, up and down, struggling to keep the boat foiling smoothly. The dark patches of water in the background as we turn into Mark 1. Australia stuffed the bow down there just before they turn downwind. It's going to be finding the breeze. Big wind shift. Sounds like Mark's in front of them. adaptive, 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 react to the situation.
So Australia, which has already punched their ticket into the grand final, sits in first place. The Americans just off their right-hand side into the inside. Look at Great Britain in that new paint scheme. They came out swinging yesterday in race number 1, getting the victory.
You spotting it, Nina?
That's very interesting. The comms coming off the Australian boat is we need to do a right turn down here. That means the Australian boat, the Golden Kangaroo that we're looking at there, currently doing 68 kilometers an hour, has got to do 2 jives to get back out to the San Francisco shoreline. That's where they want to go.
See bottom left here, 70 kilometers an hour, and Tom Slingsby doesn't actually know where he's aiming. Look at that big dark patch on the water there, big gust of wind. Slingsby and the Australian Q drive away. The course is moving and shifting all the time with this changeable wind here. It looks like Tom Slingsby's got the boat lined up perfectly. Expect a right turn here. It's all very messy on that Australian boat. The manoeuvres are poor, poor, poor. Here comes Jimmy Spinell. Can he do better? Big opportunity for the Australians. They've stuffed it. They're full of water.
The Americans follow suit, and everyone going for the same mark.
The mark's drifted away. There's just one mark in there. That means they must take a right turn on that black one. Nathan Outridge and the Japanese crew knew that. He's come up from over the start line to take the lead. It's going to be tight at the bottom here. Opportunity aplenty, but again at the front of the fleet. First and second overall from day one. Here we go. Close incident. Australia attacking in front. Wow, marginal cross. Tom Slingsby's feeling brave. We go back up and foiling. There you go, settle it in. That was good comms from Kyle Langford, the wing trimmer on board Australia there. Going to have a job on settling down in these gusty conditions.
Okay, I've got some news. It sounds like there's a bit of chatter going through race management that the race might be abandoned. The race might be abandoned. Stand by for official confirmation, but it looks like the boats are slowing down, and Stevie, that might be to do with what you said. There was a mark drifting.
Yeah, well, we saw when we got to the bottom of the course there wasn't a gate in place. Tom Slingsby, you heard him talking with Nina Curtis, the tactician on that Australian boat. And we can see Nathan Outridge and the Japanese crew here. They're using this for practice.
We're not going to lay from here, but just want to give Leo a little bit more chance under.
Okay, we're hearing from race management. The race has been abandoned, as you alluded to, for the course not being set. We said at the top of the show when we were doing the course map, the breeze was flicking in between that southerly direction off the city and that westerly direction off the Golden Gate Bridge, and they didn't get the course set in time, and they've abandoned the race. I mean, today's a high-stress day for everyone. I mean, that's really layered on a bit more stress, in my opinion, Stevie. A bit of a false start.
Yeah, I love this, though. Look, the Japanese crew here. Nathan Outridge saying, I want to get a little bit more practice for Leo Takahashi. I think what we saw downwind there was in these...
3:10 to go at the moment on the box. That's why I'm parking it right here.
That was interesting, wasn't it? I mean, we could see from the way they were lining up in the start box that they were all going to come off the top of the line. They then had a big letdown after Mark 1, which indicated to me a huge lefty. So there was a wind shift in the last 90 seconds. And the race management decided it was an unfair race course and called that race off.
So race 4 has been abandoned. They will take them back to the start box, and do it all over again. What a change of events, because Australia looked good. The Americans in second, Great Britain was sitting there very good as well. But it has been abandoned. Race number 4 abandoned here on day number 2 on Sunday. So reset yourselves, gentlemen, because we're going to do it all over again.
And I just think you're going to need that elastic thinking today. You're going to need to be pliable, need to be ready to adapt to whatever's thrown to you. We can hear Tom Slingsby here, and we'll find out for what Lisa Darmanin on the water's got going on.
Well, I think that race definitely needed to be abandoned. That's why they were really prioritising that right turn at the bottom. There was a bit of a left shift, so everyone wanted to get over to that shoreline, but really, really patchy on that left-hand shoreline. You could be a winner or you could be a massive loser, and that top mark is going to be extremely hard to navigate. It's really tucked under the hill there, so it is a battle between the two breezes today.
All right, thank you very much, Lisa. We will take a short break at the Mubadala United States Sail Grand Prix in San Francisco, California, the 8th and final stop of Season 2 SailGP. As race management sorts things out, Race 4 has been officially abandoned. Season 2 of SailGP has been a memorable journey.
They are going to be the winners here in Bermuda. What a comeback from Ainsley.
Cracking race. That was awesome.
And the celebration can now begin in earnest on Japan's SailGP as they get the victory here in Italy.
We're obviously very happy to move up the leaderboard.
Bill Robertson.
Oh my God! They did the best job of the day to win this event. Absolutely unbelievable race.
Here are the winners in Plymouth back in July. Do they have enough breeze to carry them to their second overall victory here? As Nathan Outridge will claim his second win. Congratulations, Japan SailGP, as they claim the France Grand Prix.
We're really happy with how we sailed all week. Really proud of the whole team.
For the drivers, it's a whole new set of conditions from yesterday as they are anticipating a hard day's work on the Atlantic.
This is going to be a proper standout day in the whole of season 2.
The Spanish boat out of racing.
Oh, and a capsize for Great Britain. Now it is 2 boats battling for the title. Congratulations, Australia takes the Spain Sail Grand Prix.
Game of survival today, and yeah, very happy with our team. We did an amazing job and took the win.
Welcome to Sydney Harbour, the perfect settings for the Australian Sail Grand Prix Sydney.
Look at the British boat leap out of the water, and look at that, oh my Lord, there's going to be disaster for the Japanese and the British.
And here comes Tom Slingsby and the Flying Roos. They will win in Sydney.
Boundary penalty Denmark, boundary penalty Denmark.
So back in the pre-start situation, race number 4 abandoned earlier because of one of the markings had broken loose, so it was not fair for the entire fleet, so they reset it, and we are back underway. And guys, this just goes to the point of just how tricky the conditions have been.
Here we go, breaking through the start line there. Out of the middle of the line, it's Japan. They've done a fantastic job, but the New Zealand crew boosting out in front. This could, no, it's the American crew coming out, flying through the middle of the fleet there. Bottom of the line, it's New Zealand. It's a drag race, but this is the first. Oh, Jimmy Spittle, the boat's porpoising, lost control of the ride height there. Boats are so hard to sail in this gusty condition, but this is the first time we've seen the Americans and Jimmy Spittle leading the fleet, and what a time to do it.
3, 2, 1, nice and smooth. Rolling away now.
Yo.
No boys. Keep going down. Try and lock her in again, lads. Right.
Welcome back to San Francisco, California, the restart of race number 4, which is abandoned after one of the markers came loose. The Americans getting an amazing start on the restart, but you talked about it, Stevie Morrison, the porpoising of the Americans and Freddie Carr. They hold on to it, but now it's New Zealand.
New Zealand are in really great shape here. A boat that's not in great shape is the Danish boat. They've had to pull out for technical issues. They were coming joint 3rd overall, and they've had to pull out. Really sad news for Danish SailGP fans.
And look at the speeds.
Look at the speeds, Todd. Indeed, it's going to come down to a jibe near the ley line. New Zealand first to jibe away. Green light on board. America says they're within 50 metres of the boundary there as they come downwind. He looks like he's lined up with the yellow line, Jimmy Spittle. The ladder line shows him to be a few metres ahead, but he's missed the jibe. Just 65 kilometres an hour as Burling and his New Zealand crew. Are they lined up for the left turn? Yes, they are. They're in good breeze. Great first downwind from the New Zealand crew, and expect a left turn, better tide and better wind out to sea.
Could be some tight crossings here as they approach this second gate. It will be New Zealand in first place, the Americans sitting in second.
Oh, and Spain diving inside. American boat. Oh, there's a collision on board the American boat and the Spanish boat. Oh, my Lord. Spain diving inside there. I think it was too late. Massive moment on board there. Wow. Hopefully everyone's okay.
They need to check that American boat pretty quickly and make sure it's ship-shape for the grand final. The Spanish boat were on board the Americans there from what I could see. Let's see what the Americans do here. Are they going to slow the boat and check everything out?
First and foremost, the safety of the entire crew. We will update you as soon as we get some message, but that is amazing as Spain came in hot and landed right on the back of the Americans. Let's watch this one more time.
There we go. It's going to have to hear from the umpire, Craig Mitchell, as to whether or not the Spanish were entitled to room there. If they were, Jimmy Spittle should have got out of his way. I think they came in too late, but we're going to find that out, and they dived inside. It looks like there's been a bit of damage
the
there.
Umpires, penalty Spain, relative USA, no room, not overlapped at the zone.
Oh, they
penalty clear.
Just tried to dive inside, a little bit reckless, a little bit loose. These gusty conditions, things are changing so quick. Look at that. Oh, wow. Fortunately, everything's okay there. Bit of a collision. There's going to really need to be a check of that
American
American
Spanish hull to hitting the American rudder. That could have been a season ender.
Oh, here we go. There's plenty of drama left out here. Let's rejoin the race, and we can see that it's the New Zealand crew now, nearly 100 metres out in front of Ben Ainsley's British boat. It's very, very shifty. And here we go.
And
Japan.
meanwhile, Spain, SailGP is in a world of hurt, as they are the ones that initiated the contact on the Americans going around that second gate at the bottom of the course. The Americans look to be okay, but this is a big problem for Spain.
So that's Denmark out.
You see that.
That's Denmark out, and that's Spain out. Let's rejoin the front of the race with New Zealand.
Well, New Zealand are in the lead, and we can see here they're up and foiling, but still they're finding it hard to keep the boat smooth. It's really gusty, really hard to get the platform down. That's better now. Looks like they're laying in here, and the French team, Content de la Pierre, well positioned. Nathan Outteridge at the bottom of our screen, going to come into shot right now in fourth. He's found his way up the course, but he's got a hard manoeuvre coming as Peter Burling, he's high out the water there. Andy Maloney manages to get the boat under control, the flight controller here. Ben Ainsley going to come round in third of Great Britain, but what a good upwind leg by the French team of Content de la Pierre. Loving these gusty conditions. It's getting windy out there, Freddie.
Yeah, what we saw there whilst we were watching replays is the bottom left of the course was very, very good. So that southerly kicked in again, rotated the breeze to the left, and every boat that went to the shore side gained massively.
And the message on the front of the boat for Great Britain, send it. Remember, the top three teams are already locked in, but if one of them had an incident like the Americans and the Spanish, and the Americans weren't able to sail, Stevie, the way I understand it, the Americans would be out. The fourth place team would move in.
And by sending it right now, the British team in the fourth race are tied second overall here in San Fran, and that moves them up into that fourth place in the season overall.
I'll tell you what, they will be scrambling to get down to that American boat after this race concludes. Right now, it is still New Zealand out in front. It is France in second, just barely ahead of Great Britain. In fourth goes to the Australians. And look at Nathan Outteridge, staying away from everyone in fifth.
Big loss, though, for Nathan Outteridge there. He took the left turn at the top, sailed into less breeze, and it's going to be crucial for the overall down this leg.
We're going to go down to Lisa in a minute, but she has just joined me on the WhatsApp and says there is a big hole in the back of the American boat, and they're having to keep it foiling to stop it filling up with water. Is that the moment that knocks them out of the grand final?
Well, I sincerely hope not, Freddie. As we round up at the gate here, it's been a fantastic downwind leg for Ben Ainsley's British crew, up to second behind the Kiwis. And again, Tom Slingsby, huge move on the Japanese boat, moved well ahead of them into third for the overalls here in San Francisco. That could be crucial. Oh, straight into the JK there, rounding up tack. Slick manoeuvre by the Australian boat there, but they've touched the water. They're off the foils. How quickly they can get up and going again, as we see Jimmy Spittle still foiling, still sailing around well at the moment, and let's hope that news isn't quite accurate.
All right, let's take it down to the water, and Lisa Darmanin to let us know what she can tell us.
3, 2, 1, turning.
Well, I just saw the USA boat go around that top gate, and there's a huge gaping hole in the side of their port hull, so I can basically see straight through it. So they're going to have quite a bit on to get through the day, so I wouldn't be surprised if they throw this next race to get their boat ready for the final.
And to Lisa's point, the Americans have already got a spot in the grand final. That's the race for the overall championship of the season. Only 3 boats will be in there, but if they're damaged and they can't go, then the 4th place boat moves in. There you see Spain completely dead in the water. Let's look at this moment one more time.
Here we go. We see the Americans have entered the yellow circle first. That gives them the right of way. The Spanish clearly outside the circle there. Right, there's no room for the Spanish in there, but he's coming in fast, he's coming in hot, and he just lands on top, and that's where this damage takes place. Look there, hole in the back corner. That's so unlucky. Let's hope the shore crew, we've got the most amazing shore crew in world sailing with SailGP, and I'm sure they can make something happen. But 100 metres out in front on this final upwind leg, it's New Zealand. Peter Burling, one last good tack, could see them secure the race. Here they go, finish line top right. Great tack by the New Zealand crew, but it's Tom Slingsby breathing down their neck. He's almost sailing straight up the ladder line. Wind swung all the way back to the west, and he's charging, but it looks like Burling and his New Zealand crew have got it wrapped up.
So despite all the drama in race number 4 with the Americans and the Spanish, it will be the Kiwis that get the win in race 4. It started off with an abandonment, a collision mid-race, and the Kiwis stayed clean and away. Australia will come in for 2nd place. Great move for them, and Great Britain finishing in 3rd.
Wow, there's a bit of a battle developing.
Yep.
Let's assume the Americans can't race and they are sinking. Let's assume that because we love sporty action. There is a real battle between New Zealand and Great Britain for 4th overall in the season to nick that spot. Hang on to your hats, folks. This is happening.
So there you see France coming across the finish line. There the Americans still up and sailing. I don't think they're concerned at all about what position they end up in. They just want to get it to the shore crew as fast and safely as possible. And it does look like the Americans will finish in 5th place. And Japan will take 6th. So all eyes now on USA, what can be done in what amount of time, as we now take a look at the key moment of race number 4 here in San Francisco.
Well, there's only one place to go, isn't there? And that is coming into this leeward mark. Whoever hits that yellow circle first owns that mark. That was the Americans. The Spanish tried to push their way in there. They also slipped sideways, and they were dog-locked onto the back of the USA. And there definitely was a little bit of carbon flying around in the water. We know the Spanish, just look at the American rudder here. When it falls down, wow, this close to that rudder. That is so close. That could be a season ender if they'd wiped that rudder out. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's a sealed bit of the boat that's fallen off the back of the Americans. They might just about get away with it. Wowee.
And there are the conditions aboard Team USA. As the crew takes a look at it, we have just received information that Spain's SailGP is out for the day. So now the clock is racing. Can the Americans get this fixed in time to race on?
So the WASP, we had the champion of champions, WASP Regatta for the Inspire program. This is where we identify the next generation of high-performance male and female sailors from each host city. We took the winners of each of those host cities and got them to San Francisco to find the champion of champions. And the winners are Hattie Rogers from Great Britain, from Lymington, absolutely fantastic for her. And from New Zealand, it was Sean Hubbard in picture now. He's been with SailGP all week, New Zealand. He's won a little bit of prize money as well to help him on his journey with his pro sailing. I heard he's going to upgrade his Moth and try and win many Moth World Championships like Tom Slingsby. And we know that's a springboard into SailGP. Well done, our WASP champions.
Well, there's the conditions out on the water. For more of a report of what's happening and what she sees, let's go to our Olympic silver medalist, Lisa Darmanin, who is on the bay.
Well, I'm assessing the Americans' damage, and it does not look good. We've got the tech team nearby. I mean, they don't look like they're panicking too much, but I don't know if you can see that, but there is a huge hole with the but the water can't go through the whole hull from there. So it's not too bad, but in terms of grand final preparation, it's definitely not what they wanted. After protecting the asset yesterday, they'll be super disappointed with the Spanish doing that to them today.
Spithill mentioned about protecting the asset, protecting the boat, and protecting their position in the grand final with an opportunity to win more than $1 million on one race. And there's the situation for Spain. It's worth noting they had a new skipper for this race, Jordi Chamar, taking over after Phil Robertson left the team just a few days ago. So a very young squad for Spain. And Stevie, this is what happens in a very tight race. Everyone's fighting for every inch.
It's just so gusty, so changeable out there. The whole dynamics, they're racing at the highest level. There's fine margins, and unfortunately that was a slight misjudgment. Over acceleration with a big gust, who knows? He sailed fantastically yesterday, but the important thing is this American crew who've sailed so fantastically all season are able to race in the grand final.
So the Americans go to work, see what they can do. They may have to miss race number 5 as they put all their chips on the table and hope they can get back in time for the grand final. So the situation in the San Francisco Bay is this. One of the 3 teams that has punched their ticket already in the grand final involved in a collision. That is the Americans. They were hit by Spain. Spain is out for the rest of the day. The Americans will try to get repairs. Freddie, you've been around this situation for a long time. Is that repairable in time to race in the grand final?
No, the shape of it is not. The question is, did it affect the rudder and how the rudder moves in the boat? And is the boat taking off water? It's a sealed bit of the boat, so fundamentally the hulls aren't filling up. If they keep that bit out of the water, they should be fine. It's a bit of a knock on the confidence. I'm just going to talk through my spreadsheet. You know I love a spreadsheet. The overall results right now for San Francisco, just this event, Australia are leading with 25 points. GBR are in second with 22. Japan are in third with 21. New Zealand are in fourth with 19. The key thing here is if New Zealand jumps Great Britain at this event, then they will be coming fourth overall. So that's the battle to watch in the next race. Let's go to Paul Campbell-James on board the American boat and ask him what the situation is. Paul, it's Freddie Carr here. Can you give us an update of what's going on board the American boat? Looks pretty hectic.
Yeah, it's a bit full on right now. We're just assessing the damage. We just got a little nick to the rudder with the Spanish boat at that bottom mark. Yeah, just deciding now whether to switch it out and skip this next race or skip this next race and leave it in place. But as you can probably tell, that race was pretty full on, and the risk of damaging the boat is probably a little too high considering we're about to do $1 million race.
And Paul, do you think the rudder itself is damaged, so it will limit your foiling ability? So you're looking to swap the actual rudder in the water?
Yeah, so we can actually flick these rudders up and pull it out and put another one in. The rudder, I think the issue is the upright more than the elevator. Just the scoop, the rudder's good. Yeah, so it's just the scoop. Gonna take the scoop off and we'll be good.
Oh, there you go, Tom. Sounds pretty confident. The voice of calm, love to hear it.
Yeah, as long as we keep foiling, we'll be fine.
Yeah, well, that's what you got to do, lads. Foil all the way around and jobs are good, and all the best. Sounds like you've got it under control.
Guys, the big question, though, guys, will you continue to race?
I mean, we're 100% doing the $1 million race, but I don't think we're going to do the next one.
Okay, and everyone's okay?
Yeah, everyone's good. We enjoyed that. It was pretty exciting.
Well, it was some exciting television, no question about it. Thank you so much for the time, guys. We appreciate it. Good luck to you in the repairs. So, guys, you heard it. The Americans will sit out race number 5. But remember, they're keeping their eyes on the big prize. And if they can take the next 20, 25 minutes, Stevie, and get that repair and get it back, what a story that would be if they come back to win the grand final.
Wow, come on. This is the sort of thing Jimmy Spithill loves, doesn't it? It's another amazing chapter in his autobiography, I'd imagine. I mean, it's a big bit of incident. It's not what he will have planned for. It's not what they want, but it's all about reacting, moving forward. What's the next right decision you can take? And I think missing this race, let's reset, let's make sure everything's working properly. That sounds like the right decision, the right call, and it's all about making right decisions for the next hour, hopefully resulting in $1 million.
So in my mind, we are not going to have the Spanish, as we're on board with here, because they've got a hole in the front of the boat. The Danish weren't in the last race because of a technical issue, and we haven't got the Americans. So this is a 5-boat race, in my opinion, right now.
So coming up on the 1 minute mark for the start of race number 5, you will hear the klaxon sound when we hit that 60-second mark here in San Francisco. So to Freddie Carr's point, it now becomes, instead of 8, it will be 5. And I guess the first question I have to ask you, Stevie Morrison, is if you're Australia, if you're Japan, you saw what happened just moments ago. Do you stay away from everyone and just race this straight and just maybe go through the motions?
I think you've still got to find your rhythm. You've still got to try and hit your straps and get your timing. And this is lining up as a much more conventional start here. We can see Great Britain and New Zealand. They're in that battle to potentially get up to 4th overall in the championship. This race will be crucial for them, and they're already interacting with each other. Nathan Outridge, the Japanese boat, top of screen. The Australians at the bottom leading back. He loves to have a good plan. He loves a strategy, the Australian team there. And up on the foils at 17 seconds is Nathan Outridge. I think he's too early. Wool's going to get their timing right here as all the boats start turning down. Australia turns down first. Great Britain, will they pop up on the foils and look to shoot through? It's all about timing. Everyone too early here. They're going to go clear, flying through now in first place. It's going to be Australia breaking the line first, but the Great British crew, can they find that dark patch of wind in the background there? That's a huge gust of wind. Whoever gets that first is going to go seriously fast. Looks to me like Australia will be able to lead from here at Mark 1, but Japan are going to be coming in hot in that big gust.
As they approach mark number 1 in race number 5, it will be the Aussies indeed, the defending champions from season 1, looking to carry momentum into the grand final. Can they get it done here?
Great rounding, was straight on board the Australian boat here. Nina Curtis in the background there, looking for the mark, looking for the course.
Got a lot of just working on depth all the time here, but
That's the voice of Tom Slingsby there.
Jive.
Looking to do 2 jibes at the bottom here, talking to his flight controller, Jason Waterhouse there. He calls him Milky, talking about the swell. There's a sea under here, making the foiling hard.
That's all I got for you there.
And Stevie, for the folks that are new to sailing in San Francisco, it's consistent but tricky.
It's consistently windy normally, but the wind's coming a little bit more off that shoreline we can see behind, and as soon as the wind comes off the shore, it's unstable. It's got to move around hills, buildings, whatever it's got to get around, it makes it a lot harder. But the Australians are trying to squeeze down to gate 2 here. Looks like they've done it in 1. This should be a big gain for the Australian crew. Oh, but they leap up round there. Good save on the rounding. Nathan Outridge's Japanese crew are going to split the course. It's tight. Starboard tack with Great Britain. France and New Zealand must keep clear.
Another collision.
Oh, the French needed to get out of the way there. The Great British boats had the right of way. The Kiwis, oh my lord, another instance. These gusty conditions are catching everyone out. De La Pierre needed to jibe away there and give New Zealand room to keep clear. We're probably going to hear again from the umpire, Craig Mitchell. This is a battle of attrition out here. Here we go, starboard tack, Great Britain has right of way. France must give room for the Kiwi boat to keep clear. They don't, there's nowhere to go, they leap up. Hopefully everyone's all right. Oh, it's some serious drama out here. Look, New Zealand are set up to jibe. They're expecting France to get out of the way, but the French are just not doing anything. Wow. My lord, that was a big moment in sport there. De La Pierre puts his arms in the air, but for me, he should have been jibing out the way. We're back live now. Slingsby, it is a big gain. Look at that. 300 metres in the blink of an eye, and that Australian roux is bouncing its way up the course.
More drama at gate number 2 here in race number 5. This time it is New Zealand and France as Great Britain has the right of way, cuts in front of them. For my money, Stevie, neither boat had anywhere to go because as fast as Ben Ainslie was coming through, it's not like they could pull the e-brake.
Supposed to be the best sailors in the world, Todd. You've got to see these things happening in front of you. It was pretty clear. Ben Ainslie was on starboard tack for a long time. They know they've got to keep clear. and the French just didn't react quick enough for me, but I'm sure we'll hear from our umpire, Craig Mitchell. But look at that dark patch of water the British are in. That's an indication, a big dark patch of water. There's a gust of wind there. You can see it's wavy out there. That's our camera crew getting knocked over. The Australians, they've fallen off the foil, just 33 kilometres an hour and 50 kilometres an hour on the foiling British boat. This distance getting eaten up. It's down to 100 metres. Can they get the boat back foiling? Yes, they can. The Australians will get round gate number 3 in the lead, and they'll be hoping to find wind away from here.
So Australia moves on to leg 4 of 6, and we've had more drama in race number 5. Remember, the grand final still awaits. Great Britain now sits in 2nd place. Japan has moved into 3rd, and we'll have to find out what's going on with New Zealand and France.
So in terms of the overall San Fran event here, as the position stands, Australia would win San Fran SailGP. Great Britain, as they're currently 2nd in this race, would confirm their 2nd place at San Fran SailGP, and Japan would finish 3rd. So as we see in race number 5 is how they'd finish on the podium in San Francisco.
And the big question, Fred, though, is who sits in 4th place in case the USA can't go.
That would be Great Britain would be in 4th place.
Here we go. We see this incident right of screen. Great Britain on starboard. The French here have to give room for the Kiwi crew to keep clear. They haven't done that. And there we see leaping up on board there. It was such an, I mean, it was, I think we might have got away with it, but it was a really near disastrous incident, that collision. And anyway, Japan sails away, as Australia are doing right now. But again, even the Australian crew have stuffed it into the water there. It's so hard. We can see the dark streaks of water. Here we go, that's Tom Slingsby. See how hard it is on board. Look how hard it recover. That's right, Tom. Keep it calm. They're off the foils here, really slow.
They're in the southerly. The southerly is busting in here, isn't it?
Look at that.
The southerlies won the Battle of the Breezes.
It's getting sporty
and it is
out
pumping in over the city, isn't it now?
Oh, look at this, the British crew. They fall off the foils here as we turn up into this breeze. Noticeable that they're all heading back towards the San Francisco shoreline. That is a southerly direction. It means the wind's turned to the left, which means by tacking now, as the Australians are onto port tack, wind coming over the left side, they'll be moving straight up that ladder line, and that's what all this is about. Get to the next gate as quickly as possible, and we can see the wind coming off San Francisco. It's going to be good for Tom Slingsby in Australia from here.
So there you see the 5 boats in contention right now. This is the last upwind leg with Australia in the lead. Great Britain, though, is coming on strong with Ben Ainsley in 2nd place. Japan sits in 3rd. Now remember, folks, there's still one more race to go. That is the grand final for over $1 million. And right now it's Australia, Japan, and the USA who are sitting out this race because they were damaged in the 1st race.
Max Lefty's talking about the biggest left wind shift they've had. We can see they're really flying up the ladder line, and more importantly, they're directly between the British boat and the next gate, which means they have tactical control of the situation. But look how heeled over the boat is. This is so rare for these top crews, the Australians. They just love these difficult conditions, and if I'm Tom Slingsby, I'm loving it because the pressure's on. We're delivering 2 good races in a row, momentum, and when do you want momentum? Just before the grand final of SailGP Season 2.
Australia finishing in 2nd place in race number 4. They will get the win in race number 5 and some well-deserved rest as they get set to defend their title from a year ago. Australia winners of race 5. So now it's time to bring their heart rate down as Great Britain comes into 2nd place and regroup.
There we go. Ben Ainsley's got a better spreadsheet than you, Freddie. He seemed to know they were 2nd overall and 4th in the season as he crossed the finish line.
Well, mate, I said that mid-race. Pipe down.
Clearly both using your maths GCSE to good effect there, Freddie. That is good. But as we come in 3rd place, Burling and the New Zealand crew done a nice job in that wind shift. But look at those dark patches of water there. Big gusts extra pressure, makes the boat go super fast. It's going to be one tricky final. This one is not going to be over until it's over. A big race coming. Japan need a reset. They've not looked smooth today.
Because if we do, we've got to do it quickly.
Well, we thought there was drama in race number 4. We match it in race number 5. And again, Freddie, this makes life easy for you. The key moment in race number 5, there's really no other place to turn than France, New Zealand, and Great Britain.
Yeah, 3 boats trying to fit into one. I mean, it was spectacular. That's 2 races with 2 spectacular crashes. And New Zealand, as Stevie said, was setting up to drive to clear out the way. The onus was on the French to keep clear, and they just didn't do it. I mean, the amazing thing was that on board with the French, Mubadala Pierre threw up his hands in a very Gallic style, saying, "What are you doing?" And it was like, actually, no, it's got nothing to do with what are you doing. The French should have stayed out of the way. Here's that shot. You can see their driver there, almost got crushed. There we go. What are you doing? It's like, no, brother, what are you doing? You need to clear out the way, and that's why the French got penalised.
Right now, let's set it back down on the water. Olympic silver medalist Lisa Dormanin.
Well, Todd, I'm back with the USA team, and things look a little bit more under control here. They have pulled the back section that's been damaged completely off and just tidying a few things up there. But the tech team have just spiked off, and it looks like they'll be ready to go. Obviously, those nerves will be a little bit higher after rushing through that race, but looks like they'll be ready to sail, no problem. But across the bay here, it's really challenging. There's massive bullets, and across the whole fleet, it looks like the flight controllers are really struggling to manage that flight control as the pressure changes and the angle changes as they go down the course. And I think that reason is, if you think about the flight controllers, they're just looking down the whole time, so they're relying on the wing trimmer and the skipper to tell them what's going on. So if it's a precursor for what's happening in the grand final. It's going to be a really tricky grand final. I think anything can happen. That left shore's been really powerful upwind, and that right side of the course downwind. So that's why we've got 3 best sailors in the world going at it. It's going to be an exciting race.
Doesn't matter where you live. You can live on the coast, you can live in the middle of a continent. But your life is absolutely dependent on the work of other species. The problem is that we have been abusing our natural world so much that nature cannot keep up with us. We are destroying our only home. We are unplugging our life support system for short-term gain. But the world is moving, and there is huge momentum. There is no going back.
We have a real opportunity to change attitudes and to help actually to create solutions. We really felt that there was an opportunity to help promote the acceleration to clean energy and champion a cleaner world powered by nature.
At SailGP, we're climate positive, which means you have more impact on the world than your footprint. We race for the future for our kids, for our families, for the cities we all live in and race at, and for our oceans.
I have hope because I have seen the ability of the ocean to recover, to bounce back, if we just give it space. The sailing community have a huge role to play because sports have the ability to reach more people than anything else on the planet. We all depend on each other's behavior. There is no me alone anymore. The best way for people to understand what we're doing to the planet is to see it. And the best way for people to act is to fall in love again with nature. So sailors, please take as many people as possible into the ocean. Take people with you. That's one of the longest term contributions that you can make.
No one cares how a team did in the regular season.
You'll have 3 boats racing for $1 million.
Australia's the best sailing nation.
They're going to want to stay away from us.
We are the underdog team.
It would be crazy not to say that we're going to win.
Tom was lucky last time.
The favourites don't always win.
We are so ready.
The only thing people will talk about is who won SailGP.
So season 2 comes down to this: one race, $1 million, and the fans have come out and witnessed one of the most spectacular days of racing in SailGP history. What an amazing day in races 4 and 5. New Zealand and Australia emerged safe. The Americans are getting repairs as they try to get ready for the big race. It's the grand final here at the Mubadala United States Sail Grand Prix. Well, we're down to the final race here, and it is the grand final, and we'll introduce them one by one. Jimmy Spittle, of course, with 2 America's Cup out of 7. The big question, though, is can he get his first SailGP season in this final race? This would be the big one to get it done because he is unable to get a win this season. And what a way to close it out if he can get it on the final race and the $1 million payout. The Americans have been consistent, but Nathan Outteridge, known as the Wind Whisperer, he has been very strong. Look at these Season 2 SailGP final races won. 2 out of 3. He's had some damage, but he's always bounced back, and he's just a wizard out there when it comes to finding the wind and finding the fastest line on the track. Is today his day as he bounces back from the loss last year in the championship? In the big race for the grand prize of the $1 million of those 3 boats that are...
I think we're going to go with Australia, just in case the Prix filling in. They've been quite strong all season, the Prix, so it'll be close, but I think we're with them. I think the Japanese are in good shape, and I think they are good underdogs behind the Aussies. I think they did well yesterday, and they're still smiling in this pressure time, so it's always a good point.
And France, Quentin Delapierre, what they think will happen in the grand finals. We are inching closer to the final race of Season 2. Will it be Japan? Will it be the defending champions Australia, or the Americans with a damaged boat? Wow, a lot to think about here as we send it down to Lisa Darmanin with a very special guest out on the water here in San Francisco, California.
Well, I've just collected superstar sailor Hannah Mills off the Great British Chase boat. Hannah, it's so tricky out here today. If you were on the boat with Ben, where would you tell him to go?
Yeah, it is really tricky, really gusty, really shifty. I think the big thing is keeping the communication clear and calm, making clear decisions for the team to follow and getting the boat handling nailed, and he should be in good order.
And from what we've seen so far today, who's your money on for the grand final?
I think the Aussies have looked the most stable in the wacky conditions, but you know, we've seen this racing turn on its head, so anything can happen.
Well, we'll be standing by in the race to bring you all the action. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Appreciate the insight from where you are, as there the Americans are back up and sailing. Just 25 minutes ago, they had a major collision with Spain, which took Spain out of race number 4. The Americans went immediately in to have their repairs done. And Stevie and Freddie, I'll tell you what, if they somehow come back and win this race, that shore crew deserves a race.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's classic Jimmy Spittle, isn't it? He doesn't love it if it's not hard work and a fight, that's absolutely for sure. And what's really interesting, this camera angle, you can see the swell that's out there on the water, making it so hard for the flight controllers. $1 million sits on the flight controllers' shoulders for me.
Well, there are the Americans as they try to make this work. Can they get themselves straight and upright, Freddie? It is going to be a tall task.
Yeah, and the key player for me, just in running across the boat now, is Andrew Campbell. He's the jib trimmer, but he's also the tactician. This is a tactician's race. Big pressure on Andrew Campbell.
And let's talk about Japan, Stevie. They have been consistent throughout the year, and we know how good in any condition Nathan Outteridge is.
Well, they love the shifty weather, but I think it's Leo Takahashi. He's done an absolutely incredible job since coming in Sydney, but this is the hardest conditions he's had so far. Can he learn fast on the job to get them the boat speed they're going to need?
And Freddie, maybe the odds-on favourite, the defending champions, the Australians.
Yeah, Australians. Cole Langford is my man here. He's the wing trimmer. He's been really vocal in races 4 and 5 today. He sailed with Tom for a long time. He's won the America's Cup in San Francisco. I think he could be the key player in the final.
And we are set to go, under 2.5 minutes to go here in the pre-start, and then it is on. $1 million plus on the line in this one race. Who will get it done? Freddie, I'm going to start with you. Go out on the line. Give me a prediction. Where do you think this thing goes?
I've been saying it for 6 months. I'm not sure if I believe it anymore, but I've been saying it for 6 months. Jimmy Spithill is not going to win a race to the grand final. Now, I'm not sure if I believe that anymore, because they tried to find a bit more performance yesterday, and in trying to find that last 0.5% in performance, I actually think they dropped their performance by a couple of percent. You put on top of that their crash, it's going to be a tough win for them. Maybe my head says the Australians, but my heart's going to go with the Americans. Hey, I'm not going to back down. I'm going to say the Americans.
Stevie, who you got?
I'm going to be boring. I'm going to go with Australia.
Boo.
I think it's such tricky conditions, the experience of that crew. They've been out here in San Francisco Bay and done this before, and I think yesterday I thought Nathan and the Japanese crew looked good, but the conditions we got today are going to really challenge and make it a real fight, and I'm going Australia.
Under 90 seconds to go, it is March Madness time, and wouldn't that be the Cinderella story if Jimmy Spithill comes back to San Francisco and pulls off yet another comeback with a broken boat? Don't forget Nathan Outteridge. This guy is a wizard out of the water.
Let's not forget how important the start is in a 3-boat final. The boat that gets to Mark 1 first wins 75% of the finals. This is a massive minute, and the race to Mark 1 is everything.
And if you're the American, Stevie, you have nothing to lose. You have every reason to say, hey, we've got a built-in excuse. Spain chopped the back end of our boat off. You know, we're not expected to be here. So why not roll the dice and see if it comes up Yahtzee?
Well, maybe. And look, here we go, though. Great positioning by Spithill. I'm surprised he stayed on the foils that long. If he could have fallen off the foils quicker, he would have had control of all the boats. He's now early back. Tom Slingsby will be where he wants to be.
That's the umpire's boundary penalty, Japan. Boundary penalty, Japan.
Oh, they're going to have to follow the other two in. Unforced error. That's unbelievable error by the Japanese crew here with 21 seconds to go. Normally the opportunist here coming through, looking to put a penalty on back on the Australians. It's tight at the top of the line. They're going to try and block it up at the top of the line here. There's 10 seconds to go. They're all very early. There's not a lot of wind up there. The gust of wind is to the left of screen. Who's going to find that first? Could define the final. Looks to me like Japan are going to hold that penalty on Australia as well. Spitthill's got the break here. It's going to be the Americans that will be able to lead at Mark 1.
Australia relative Japan clear. Japan, you got behind USA, delayed starter Australia.
So the Americans have an open track.
Here we go, the penalty's on Japan. They must drop back behind Australia, but they've managed to put a penalty on Tom Slingsby and stop him up. The leader at Mark 1 will be the USA, and the race is going to look at the gust of wind coming down off the San Francisco shoreline. It's advantage Spithill on leg 1 of the grand final here in San Francisco.
Stevie, the southerly is in, the course is set up for a westerly. This is an upwind angle, pretty much. They're going to be bearing away, and it looks like left phase here. The rich could get richer at Mark 1. 75% of the winners have come from this leading at Mark 1.
At Mark number 1, it's Jimmy Spithill and USA SailGP. After having the boat repaired in a quick turnaround, they are back out on the water, and they lead the grand final.
It's light at the moment here now. 75% of the time in these 3-boat races, the leader at Mark 1 has won, but today is not a normal day. There's a lot of opportunity. Big gust of wind going to hit the American crew. It's going to next hit the Japanese crew. What can they do? They're nearly sailing directly down the ladder lines. Look how they're almost sailing along that arrow. That means they're pointing at the next gate. There's a lot of action to happen. It's nearly down. What a big gust of wind on board the American boat.
I think they're laying. I think the Americans might get there in 1. Let's see. Will they get there in 1 without a manoeuvre?
Absolutely will.
Look at this.
That's the voice of Paul Campbell-James. Big ease on the roundup. He's a bit tight in. Outteridge is working wider. This could be advantage Japan on the exit of this mark. It's going to come down to the technique. Now, Americans need to stay tight, set up for attack, expect early tack. I'm surprised Japan are a bit slow setting up. They've run wide. There goes Tom Slingsby. He slings the boat around the mark. Who can get on the foil first? He's forced it. There's errors galore here. Plenty of opportunity left in this race. Japan first back up on the foils, but in the lead and in control, Jimmy Spithill. What a time to take the lead. Not on the foils, he's not on the foils. Look at the speed difference here. Tom Slingsby flying fast, and the Japanese crew now, they're all level on the ladder line as we head upwind. Who can find the next breeze? Historically, the San Francisco shoreline's paid, which should favour outerage as we move up the leg.
This is leg 3 of 6. The Americans have given up the lead. They now sit in 3rd place. It is Australia, the defending champions, who have moved into 1st, and here comes Japan and Nathan Outeridge.
Big left shift coming down here. I don't know if we can see anything on the marks. Freddie Carr out on the water, but into the lead. I mean, it's absolutely neck and neck on the ladder lines here. Again, they're nearly sailing straight up the course. This wind shift has made it very, very long on port tack. Tactically, Tom Slingsby gives himself a chance, but it depends. Is he going to find a shift back to his side to allow him to tack onto starboard and have the right of way?
And the big question will be who will have the right of way when they make the turn as they make their way around at the next gate. We check in down on the water with Hannah Mills and Lisa Darmanin.
Standing by.
Okay, stand by. Coming up.
Well, the stew makes it difficult for overtaking, but Hannah, where do you think the overtaking opportunities are?
Yeah, as you say, it's really tricky, but I think what the Aussies did really well was they took the long tack before the other 2 boats that were ahead of them around that leeward mark, and looks like it's paid off for them, and they've managed to keep course position and get ahead.
Well, we've still got another lap to go, so anything could happen, but we will be standing by on the water.
It's really patchy at the top. I think they've all tacked too early.
I've just got breaking news. The race has been abandoned because there's a whale on course.
So we have just received confirmation of a whale sighting near the race course. So, in line with SailGP protocol, we have stopped racing to allow the whale to pass through safely. Just when you thought you'd seen it all in SailGP Season 2.
Who's writing the scripts?
Race abandonment. So the grand final has been abandoned.
Did all 3 boats lead at some point in that race? Like, what? What is going on, man?
And that was just 3 legs of 6. We weren't even halfway done.
This is a big moment here. This is like J.K. Rowling's got hold of the script for this and chefed something special up for us, because it's absolute Houdini stuff out there from Tom Slingsby, 3rd to 1st, and then it's all gone inside out again. Reset.
Yep. Fans are saying free racing.
How was that left shift with 30 seconds to go? As the gun went, they were on an upwind angle, and it shifted left and left and left, and they laid down in 1, and then the tack in that bottom left corner. Oh my goodness.
Well, isn't it classic that in this pressure, unforced errors? I mean, how did Nathan Outeridge, in these conditions, you can't be picking up a boundary penalty in the pre-start, and we see at the bottom mark here, this was the moment. It's long, you've got to get onto port tack as soon as possible. We hear Jimmy Sittles stand by, but look, already into the tack, in the background, Tom Slingsby just throws the boat around. It's a bit messy, it's a bit scrappy, but he tactically gets himself heading straight up the course sooner than everyone else, and they were up and foiling fast. The Americans struggled, and what a moment.
Yeah, that was the lead change moment. Look at the Americans there. Like, they, out of the tack, they were still nose forwards on the Australians. And if they did a good acceleration, they were still in control of the race, depending on shift. But they did a really bad job. They were 10 kilometers an hour slower than both the other boats. And that's where the Americans lost the lead.
So back live here in San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, the Marin Headlands in the distance as the grand final has been abandoned because of a whale sighting, and due to SailGP protocol, the race comes to a complete stop. They allow the whales to pass through safely, and then the grand final will restart once again. What a race it was, but we will do it all over again as we continue on here with SailGP Season 2 at the Mubadala United States Sail Grand Prix. Are almost ready to start the grand final. Just to let you know, Denmark did go on to win that race yesterday on race number 2. So we are 2 minutes and 30 seconds away from the start of the grand final.
Well, here we go. The fans have got something to look forward to. We've got something to look forward to here. It's going to be great action. We can see the boats. They will be in their pre-race manoeuvring now. The wind looks light to me, though, Freddie Carr. There's not an awful lot of breeze out there. They're on the small foils, let's remember. Getting up on the foils, being really delicate with the boat is going to be absolutely crucial. Mouse in carpet, slippers, get the boat foiling, Keep it foiling and you could be good. That was Campbell James, wing trimmer, big lefty. That's that southerly wind we're talking about. We're expecting that to come in, but it's light.
It's very light, and there's still 6 crew people on board. That doesn't help them foil or fly. There's a bit of chat that there's a few gremlins flying around on the starting software as well, so they're not going to be relying on their tactical aids on the wings. Potentially, it's going to be fly by your gut and get the boat off the start line. How light is that? I mean, that looks sub 15 kilometers an hour to me. Oh, wow. Let's dial into the voices on board here. This will give us the best picture of what's going on.
Big left shift here. Yep. Come up 30 degrees. He's not tacked yet. He's still on board. Move that lead out for a second.
Yeah, Paul Campbell James, wing trimmer on board America, Chris Draper, wing trimmer on Japan, talking about the timing. They're already coming into the race as we're approaching the 1 minute warning signal.
We are 1 minute away from the start, the restart of the grand final here in San Francisco, California, the last race of season 2 of SailGP. First race abandoned after a whale sighting. The Americans with a damaged boat on the stern, and here we go, 43 seconds.
So all boats are on port here with 43 seconds to go, with one maneuver to do, one tack to do to line themselves up with to the start with 30 seconds to go. Very short to Mark 1 and only 600 meters from Mark 1 down to the first gate.
It's almost upwind to Mark 1 here. First to lead back, it's the Americans. Tom Slingsby turns the Australian boat away from the wind. He's hoping to get up on the foils with 15 seconds to go. How's the timing? The Japanese closest to the line, leading back, not what we expected. Dark patch of wind coming in above here. 8, 7 seconds to go. It's all about who can get on the foil. The Australians have the speed. There's the start there. Spittle's done a fantastic job again, but who's going to get on the foils first? It's Australia and Tom Slingsby. They're boosting away towards Mark 1. The camera boat in the way of the Japanese here, but boosting away. This is going to be a huge lead for Tom Slingsby as the Americans fall off the foils in the background. Advantage Slingsby. Both boats behind off the foils.
Yep, trying to get through this.
Nathan Outridge, we have to apologise for a bit of swearing there. He was very upset with the camera boat that was in his way as he was trying to accelerate.
We're going again here, Milky.
Here we go. That's the voice of Tom Slingsby, and he is going to be down the road. Look at these two boats here, sat in no wind.
Left turn, please.
And I'm looking at the UNPAP right now. Australia's about to get to Mark 1, and they must have half a leg lead on the Americans and the Japanese that we're on board with now. The Australians have just arrived at Mark 1 in pressure, bearing away.
And look at the speed difference.
Look at the speed difference, 50 kilometres an hour versus 25. I know which boat I'd like to be on, but as the hull pops up on board the American boat here, look for the right-hand side of screen. They're up and foiling. Right, time to chase them down. That's the voice of Paul Campbell James calling there. Come down, we can turn down. I've got good wind in the boat. I'm up and foiling, and they're now leaving the Japanese behind.
And the Americans are about to arrive at Mark 1. The Australians are halfway down the second leg, with the Japanese a long way back in first. Here's our leaders. Here's Australia. They have got one in.
As they get away from the shore, we can see in the background there, they're moving further and further away from the shore, and as they move downwind, they're going to find more wind. Clear away from the shore, so the rich are going to get richer early on.
These are the defending champions, Australia. They get an early break here in the grand final. $1 million plus on the line. They make the turn. They are on to leg number 3, and they will see the Americans and the Japanese still making their way down course. So a huge advantage to a team that you do not want to give an advantage to.
Lovely first tack, early keen to tack there on board the Australian boat, try to stay in the breeze away from shore.
So we're set up in that westerly race course again with the breeze round in the south. Really makes it a bit processional, but that westerly breeze might kick back in and the breeze swing to the right.
Awful lot of manoeuvres on board the American boat there at the bottom. Paul Campbell James, wing trimmer, very happy. They managed to stay on the foil as we see Japan in the background. Can't help feeling as we approach the top of the course, right up underneath that San Francisco shoreline, that's where the jeopardy's going to come back into it for this Australian crew. Can they get in and out of there staying on the foils?
I think the left-hand approach looks better at the top.
That's the voice of Kyle Langford. He wants to be on the left-hand side. He wants to be nearer the shore, Freddie Carr. He wants the breeze coming off that San Francisco shoreline.
Yeah, the breeze is out of that San Francisco shoreline. And right now, the Australians are pointing directly at the windward mark in pressure. And they are extending and extending and extending, coming up to a 500-metre lead.
Heard him discussing the manoeuvre here. Does he want to do a Chicago? Right turn early, jibe. Yeah, so he's looking to set up for a right turn straight into a jibe. They're going to be able to sail directly up and down the course. This is a leader's dream. It's just about sailing their own boat now. Keep it smooth, keep it simple.
Gains up here.
Talking about the gains, there you see the wind at the top. Checking in around 20 kilometers an hour, and it's Australia that found the wind first. They took off as they make their way on. You heard the talk of the Chicago.
Chicago, that's a right turn early jibe, but they're off the foils.
Down.
Off the foils here. Now, how long are they going to stay off the foils? Will they get more wind back to pop up? This could be opportunity knocks for the boats behind if they're going to get a chance. This is it. Where's the next gust of wind?
Look at the top left, look at the distance to lead, and that is coming down pretty quickly. It's about to go down past 500. It's going down 10 metres a second as the Australians are off the foil, and it looks to me like the USA are coming in with good pressure in the middle of the course.
Listen, that Tom Stingsby, we've got to be patient, we've got to punch through this. We could see it. We can see here foiling in come the American crew. Look at the distance coming down. Will they get there in breeze? At the moment, look at the speeds. 11 kilometres an hour for the Australians, 45 kilometres an hour for the USA, and they're back within the same shot. The race is all on.
We have a restart.
Oh, but they're not laying. They're not laying. How big a mistake's that? They look like they might have been a bit greedy. They need to make the right turn.
But look at this, guys. It was over 500 meters. The lead for the Australians is now below 125. And now the Americans, and here comes Japan.
I'll tell you what, and Japan are wound up in a real lefty here. They are going to lay. And if the Japanese keep the boat on the foil, which they don't, and the Australians pick up the breeze, the Japanese have just come in to...
We can see there on the back of the boat, Nina Curtis looking out for breeze. Hull comes up, good sign for the Australian fans. Next thing we should look to see is on the right-hand side of the screen, can they get that other hull out of the water? Can they get it foiling again? It's skimming, there it goes, it's up, it's released. The rich are about to get richer again, boosting away.
So here comes the distance. Watch this grow quickly.
And
in the background, the Japanese are through to second, but look, they're at under 10 kilometres, they're at 8 kilometres an hour.
Look at the boat speed difference.
50 kilometres an hour, 40 kilometres an hour difference. That's just huge. But we've seen it, the top of the course is going to be pivotal. Nathan Outridge, he's spent less time in the water than anyone else. Looks like he's about to get foiling again. Up to second of the Japanese crew. This race is still on.
Reset. Oh no, it's too eased.
Oh no. So didn't quite get it up on the foils. A mistake from the Japanese crew there as the Aussies are off.
I'm looking at the unpack, and the Australians are in the bottom third of the downwind, whilst the Japanese are still trying to get on the foil in the top half of the upwind, and the Americans are stuck at the windward gate in no wind.
This is leg 4 of 6. They will make the turn, they will head upwind, and then it'll be a short distance to the finish line, and Australia has almost locked this thing up. The defending champions from last year looking to make it 2 in a row, and look at the distance growing.
Stevie, is this a victory lap right now? 800 metres.
I think they're going to struggle to not manage to make it stick from here, but we've seen how bad the top of the course can be. I can't see it from here. They're just looking so solid. Just whether or not they're this far ahead, they're sailing the boat the best. That's what they're doing a great job. Lots of comms on board the boat. The Japanese, they are on the foils. They have closed the distance a bit. They're going faster, 66 kilometres an hour versus 55.
Distance to lead is 600 metres. The Americans, the Australians, pardon me, are halfway up their final upwind and on the foil.
Locking it in and setting up. Boundary coming quick my way.
Here we go.
Going forward. Good path here. 2, 1. 2, 1, locked.
So here we go. It is Australia, the winners of last year's SailGP season, with a massive lead, looking to bring it home and claim the win in the grand final. All kinds of drama taking place today in races 4 and 5 collisions. We had an abandonment, we had a whale sighting, and now they have come back, and the Australians have been the class. Remember, guys, they've already got 4 wins on the season, and they look so smooth.
Well, this is it. It's the voice of Carl Langford. We're not quite pointing at the marks, but Slingsby just wants to get the boat up on foiling. The reassurance of foiling is all they need. Look, they're up and going. Speed's going to build. They're foiling high above the water, and that could well be the crucial moment as they bring it in towards the finish line.
2, 1, going forward.
Japan has moved into second place, but they are more than 460 meters behind Australia. Similar the way it ended last year, with Australia getting the win ahead of Japan. The USA nowhere in the running right now with that damaged boat. They sit in third place. But this, the grand final, Tom Slingsby seems to save the best for last. For Australia, SailGP, the repeat is now complete. 2-time SailGP champions here in San Francisco.
Getting softer here. Hard lefty.
This is just the victory lap as they flex for the fans that have turned out here to watch the world's best sailors as they cruise along the shoreline. And it is Australia that claims the title in 2022.
1, just gonna bear away here, guys.
Hey.
Bearing away here.
Wow. There you go, that means something. Jason Waterhouse there in the hatch, flight controller, absolutely fizzing. Australian fans absolutely fizzing. What a race. I mean, the conditions, got to say, over the season, the deserved champions for me, and to deliver in those conditions, wow, fair play. Fair play. Nina Curtis, Tom Slingsby, everyone, great job.
5 wins this season, and the last one the most valuable at $1 million in the grand final.
They held their nerve at that first windward gate, and the world was changing around them. They held their nerve. Tom Slingsby said, "Be patient, our turn will come." Their turn came. They've won $1 million. They've won season 2 of SailGP. I take my hat off to that result.
What a performance. What a performance.
And Japan will finish in second place again. Nothing to hang their heads about. They had some great success this year, of course, winning in Italy. They came back and won in France as well. But second place for Nathan Outteridge and Japan SailGP.
Japan didn't have the best start in that final, but there was a camera boat directly in front of them when they were trying to get on the foil, and I understand Nathan's frustrations when he was talking as they were sailing off the line. A real tricky one for those guys. Feel for them.
Tom Slingsby and crew can now celebrate back-to-back winners, SailGP. What a season for them. There were moments, guys, during this year where they just looked to be out of sync and out of sorts, but they bounced back, and it was that win in Australia in December that seemed like they just grabbed the momentum and brought it all the way up to San Francisco.
Yeah, I mean, they've had some challenging moments, but my word, if they manage to hold it together and come good when it counts. And, you know, I think the class showed to deliver here in those conditions. We see in the hat, right-hand side of screen there, Coach Ben Durham. He'll have played no small part in this big man, big character. And I'd imagine on a day like this, that's just what you need from your coach to hold things together. But, yeah, what a performance. Tom Slingsby there's a smile, satisfied smile. The red mist stayed away today, and he delivered.
That's a really solid squad, isn't it? And the standout results for me on the season was when they finished last in Taranto, dead last in Taranto, bounced back and won Plymouth. They finished last in Saint-Tropez, bounced back and won the next event, I believe, Cadiz.
Yes, exactly.
Like, to bounce back like that shows real character, and that is why they're season 2 champions.
And what a bounce back they did on home waters. You remember in season number 1, they lost on home waters to, I believe, Ben Ainsley. So they got that win and got that monkey off their back. And then they come to San Francisco, guys, and they were just consistent. You look at race number 1, they finished in second place. Race number 2, they finished in 4th place. Race number 3, they bounced back again and had a pretty solid race there, as the Australians have just been the most consistent performing program throughout.
Has the fastest boat won, Stevie?
I think the fastest boat has won, absolutely.
There's no substitute for boat speed.
Meanwhile, the Americans with the damaged boat on the back, that coming in race number 4 with their collision with Spain. It just was not their day. And guys, we talked about this earlier in the week, unable to get the speed.
3, 2, 1.
See the crowds there watching the American boat, looking to come home. They just got stuck in no wind. Local fans still bringing them home. Good to see. And they're up on the foils here, but that's just what can happen in those conditions. You get stuck in the water, stuck off the foils. There you go, 3rd place. First season in SailGP for Jimmy Spithill, and not how we would have imagined it ending, I'm sure.
Yeah, they seem to be beset by bad luck throughout the start of the season. There was that collision in Bermuda with Japan. And that kind of set things in stage. But they were consistent latter part. And then just to get into the grand final, that was a big accomplishment for Spithill and company. It is all smiles on board Australia SailGP because they were the dominant force today, guys. It wasn't a stretch to say put your money on Australia because they were just the class of the field this weekend.
Absolute class. And let's not forget as well, first female athlete to win in SailGP, Nina Curtis, tactician. You want a tactician in those conditions, and there's no doubt that she was doing a fantastic job finding those shifts, getting them around the course, and just a complete team.
Well, the final rankings now. It is official. Australia wins back-to-back. They win in 2022, backing up their title from last year. Japan finishing in 2nd, the USA finishing in 3rd. Great Britain up and down season in 4th place, New Zealand in 5th. Denmark will be back, and they had some great improvements as they finished the season in 6th place. Spain, wow, despite the drama off the boat, they had some moments where they looked really good, but in the end, it was a major mistake that almost took them and the Americans completely out. Fortunately, no one injured, as Spain will finish the season in 7th place. And France also making a change at skipper. They finished in 8th place to wrap up the championship, Season 2, SailGP here in San Francisco, California. Well, guys, you start looking at Australia, guys, and it's not very far away, Freddie, that we start talking about Season 3. But before we get to talk of Season 3, let's talk about the key moment in this race, the grand final for $1 million.
Well, there is only one key moment, isn't there? And that was the reach to Mark 1 after the start. And this was it. This was the race. It was real simple, wasn't it? There's 2 boats in the background, the Americans and the Japanese struggling to foil. And it's the Australians that picked up the breeze first and stayed on the foil to Mark 1. And as we know, Stevie, that when you get to Mark 1 first, particularly on a skewed race course where it's follow my leader, it's likely to be game over.
Yeah, positioned himself well in the start, found some breeze, got the boat on the foils and foiled away, and that was it. Led all the way, start to finish.
Well, here's the analysis of the final, and there's one thing, isn't there? There's the distance that Australia sailed compared to the other boat. The Japanese were the fastest, but the distance sailed by the Australians was less. Yes, they were reaching between Windward Gate and Windward Gate, but it just shows that they were lucky to be in phase with the breeze. They held their nerve at that top Windward Gate, foiled back down to the bottom of the course, and went on to win. Bravo.
Well, let's bring you up to speed on the race within the race. SailGP has initiated the Impact League, which is a competition amongst the 8 teams about reducing their carbon footprint as they compete in Season 2, of SailGP. The trophy is an amazing piece of work that has taken a recycled piece of carbon fiber and turned it into an incredible final product. Congratulations, New Zealand SailGP, for taking the top spot, followed by Great Britain and Australia. All 8 teams made huge strides in the race to save the planet during Season 2. Well, it's that time now for the trophy presentation, and it is Tom Slingsby and Australia SailGP getting the win for 2 years in a row, and they are the champions in SailGP. What a performance. We go on board now with Tom Slingsby. Tom, you had to wait for this one. You had to endure a few abandonments, a whale crossing. Was it as sweet as you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, it's almost sweeter, actually. Yeah, look, if we won in very normal conditions, I don't know, this just feels better. We sort of knew we had to be ready for anything, and we really got at anything. We weren't expecting to be leading the $1 million race and for it to be cancelled and Wales be on the course, and so we've been freestyling all day, and yeah, and then we got away in that last race and they couldn't catch us.
Tom, Freddie Carr here, massive congratulations. I look at your season as a whole, and the two things that stood out to me were your bounce-back wins, where you finished last in Toronto and won in Plymouth, and then you finished last in Saint-Tropez and won in Cadiz. You must have had a pretty serious word with yourself to turn your season round in those two moments.
Yeah, we did have some tough events. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the word adversity or if Jimmy's got it patent, but we did battle adversity at times, and the way we bounced back as a team, yeah, you just got to be honest with yourself and work on your weaknesses. There's not a day that goes by or we go sailing where we're not learning, and the way we sort of were able to bounce back and learn, and yeah, we feel like we're as strong as we ever have been right now, and yeah, we're just stoked.
Hey Tom, it's Stevie here in the booth. You said before the race you'd rather be lucky than good. You look pretty good from the outside, but how lucky are you feeling right now?
3 minutes to end the show. Doing an interview. I think we were lucky and good today. Yeah, look, I did say I'd prefer to be lucky than good on a day like today, and it felt like we got a bit of both. So, yeah, it's just such a good feeling to do it like that. And yeah, we beat Nathan, and I was looking at the conditions before the start going, geez, Nathan's pretty solid in this, but we got away and we didn't make any errors, and yeah, that's the result.
Tom, congratulations. You've always been generous with your time throughout the year. We appreciate that. It's now time for you to receive your trophy from the CEO of SailGP, and Russell Coutts has a little something for you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Cheers. And here is the presentation. Russell Coutts handing off the big trophy. That is a nice piece of hardware, guys. I'm assured that Tom Slingsby and crew will also be receiving a nice check, Freddie, in excess of $1 million.
Okay, over here we go, look.
Certainly not been a bad day at the office for that Australian crew. Thoroughly deserved. There we go. Get the Aussie flag out. Tom Slingsby's obviously done that before, made sure the flag's the right way up.
Yep.
It's a good sign. And wow, big smile on their face. Wonder if they're going to be able to keep that going for the next season.
So once again, it is Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. They reign supreme in SailGP Season 2. And now the bubbly will flow here in San Francisco. This part they have down.
Bring it on. Goggles on.
Well, now we turn our attention as the champagne flies in San Francisco to Season 3. It'll be another amazing season that will be coming up, and it's not very far away. May 14th and 15th. It is Bermuda Sail Grand Prix presented by Hamilton Princess. Fellas, it has been an absolute honor working with you, Stevie, Freddie. We look forward to starting this all over again. You know the quick adjustments that will be made. Everyone will go back to the drawing board, and some people will come back even more anxious than this year to try to get the revenge and try to get themselves in the same position that the Australians are in right now. So there it is, the first event of Season 3, event number 1, Bermuda Sail Grand Prix, presented by Hamilton Princess, the 14th and 15th of May. We hope you can join us. So on behalf of Stevie Morrison, Freddie Carr, Lisa Darman, and Hannah Mills, and our entire SailGP crew, we thank you for taking this journey with us. Once again, it is Australia's SailGP that wins it all in 2022.
On board the American boat.
Can the Americans get this fixed in time to race on? Another collision.
Oh, the French needed to get out of the way there.
For Australia, it's another win and another $1 million.